I knew that they were a strong team anyway, but Kieran was sort of the one who stood out really. He was the captain of the team, he was the leader, and he just had this sort of infectious appetite for the game. He was always kicking a ball around on the playground, getting the teams organised, and being the one who kind of led the procession, so to speak. And then he would go off to sort of city training at the academy, and there were days where he'd picked a team for a school team. You didn't know if he was going to turn up or not. And then what would usually happen is you'd be driving the bus down the road, like ready to go to a game, thinking he wasn't going to be playing. And he'd be stood there on the side of the road in his school PE kit and his boots. So, we'd pick him up and go to the game. So, even though he'd do a full day's training at the academy, he still wanted to come and play for the school team as well. So, yeah, he was just one of them. He loved playing. And obviously, having somebody like that in his team, he just brought so much to the team. He was a really, really strong player in an already strong team. So, we were able to compete quite well. We won lots of sort of local competitions. We won the Berry Cup sort of 2 years running. We won the County Cup when they were in year 11. Kieran scored 2 goals in the final, 4 goals in the semi-final. So, he was one of those players that just had that ability to influence the game so much when he was at that age. All the parents used to come and watch them, and they'd all have their own opinions on the game and who should have played where, and Mr. Garcka, I'm not sure if you should have made that substitution, and it got a bit pressurized at one point. But I put it down to the fact that they were also mad on football and had such a passion for it that it did make my job easier at times. But there were times where you kind of felt the pressure a little bit because you were maybe expected to win and you didn't, or you didn't quite perform as well as you wanted to. But they were a great set of lads to have, to be honest. We've still got a photo somewhere. Don't know if this will come out on the video or not, but I'm not sure how well you can see that. But that's, try and hold it up for your camera, but that's the team that won the County Cup, which they all signed when they left in year 11. They all signed it, and then I don't know if you can see the goalkeeper in there. Just trying to get it to the camera, but Kieran's just next to him.
Yeah. So
that was our County Cup final win, and he scored 2 goals in that final, and 4 goals in the semi-final. So, yeah, I would say he was not so much in PE, but with us, as a PE teacher, you have that sort of certain degree of, I suppose you have a sort of a lower threshold for banter, let's say, and you can, you've grown up in changing rooms and how the sports pitch can be. So, with Kieran and ourselves down here, we had a good laugh with him. It was always good banter. It was always good fun. There were a couple of subjects that he wasn't as well into, and a couple of teachers who he kind of sort of, bashed heads with a few times. But it was never any malice. It was just sort of typical, teenage boy behaviour sometimes, where he'd probably rather be down here kicking a ball around than sitting in a classroom learning, whatever subject it might be. But there were a couple of teachers who, still in touch with him and think really highly of him and stuff. And there are others who were like, well, he might be this footballer, but it was a bit of a pain in the bum in my lessons. So when the pupils are in year 10, we put them through a sports leaders course. And obviously with the amount of footballers we had in Kieran's year, we did like a mini football coaching qualification with them. And part of their qualification was to set up and run a mini World Cup. So they would bring in the primary schools. The kids in the class would coach the kids in the team, and then we had a tournament in the afternoon. And I managed to dig out a CD which has the photos on it, and just so happens that Kieran and one of his friends was the England manager, because he'd drawn England in the thing.
All right,
so his team actually won the tournament on penalties, and he was the manager. So one of the photos, which I've got on a CD, and I've kept it because I knew it might come up, is a picture of him. So I don't know if you can make that out, but that's him celebrating the penalty shootout win.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a bit blurry. And then the better one is that one. So he's on as you look at it, I think he's on your right-hand side there.
Yeah.
So he was the coach, and that was his team that he coached, and they ended up winning the competition.